Welcome to the Adhocracy Show. On today's episode,
Happy Tartan Day. Did you know that the kilt was nearly banned for 40 years?
what's a tartan? We'll be right back. Welcome back. I'm David Landeen.
And I'm JD Melville, and welcome to the Adhocracy Show, where we geek out over advertising, marketing, art, and design.
And you said Happy National Tartan Day.
Yes. Tomorrow is National Tartan Day. And of course, I couldn't just pass this opportunity to share something that is part of me. My last name, Melville, is a Scottish name.
Yeah. So Scottish. So it has something to do with Scotland.
Yes.
Nothing to do with tarts.
No, there are no tarts, though a tart is delicious.
Okay. So why don't you just tell us, first off, what is a tartan?
Okay, so here's a tartan. Ding! And this is actually my family tartan.
Oh.
This is the Melville family tartan.
Okay.
Now, you might be looking at this and say...
It's plaid.
You'd be wrong. In Scottish Gaelic, plaid means blanket, and is usually like a scarf that's worn, like a piece of fabric that's worn over the shoulder.
So plaid is not the design. It's not like it. The design is a tartan.
Yeah.
Now, can a plaid have a tartan design?
Oh yes. Yeah.
okay.
It usually has a tartan.
Okay, that's why.
So in the U.S., it's kind of become synonymous that plaid is a tartan, or
But here in the U.S., we ruin everything.
We kind of
we
do.
don't know. We don't know anything about it.
So what is a tartan? Of course, as you can see, it is a bunch of colors, colored bands that cross at right angles, and they create a repeating pattern.
Okay.
And these repeating patterns, they're like woven little fabrics, and the way that they weave kind of create different colors and different color patterns. And when two of the same color go on top of each other, it creates a solid color.
Would you look at that?
But a tartan is much more than just fabric and color. It has a very deep history, deep like the Scottish people and their heritage.
That was deep.
That was deep.
All right. So we have the tartan, and this was used as it told a story. It was because you said this is your family tartan.
Yeah.
So this is your family's like the crest, like
The clan, yeah.
the clan.
There's a crest that goes with families.
Oh, okay.
But this originated as actually just indicating kind of regions or areas.
Okay, so I imagine that you have the color would be something. I mean, back in the day, they didn't have you could go to the store and buy a dye. They would have to use the whatever plant was there, and so would change up what area it's from. You could probably tell because
So you could kind of tell because they would use the dyes in the areas local to them, and because of transporting dyes from far away would be really expensive. You wouldn't really be able to use that in your kilt. It was really just regional.
Okay.
Now, because of political unrest, because of wars between the United Kingdom, and because of different attempts to unite the kingdom, there was actually the Dress Act of 1746 that banned the Highland dress.
So it is a dress.
No, dress as in like formal wear, like this is
how
you dress. It banned the tartan and the kilt. Any use of it was illegal, and in Scotland, and this ban was in effect for about 40 years.
So the kilt, and as long as like the pattern, you could not wear that pattern.
You couldn't, yeah.
So
it couldn't be found. You couldn't own it because, at least politically, from the war side, when they were trying to unite the kingdom, they found that it was the Scottish people that were kind of in the hills, in the mountains, that were fighting. They were kind of the last thing. So this was sort of to subdue warrior clans.
Okay. All right. Well, did it work?
It did for nearly 40 years. So in the mid 19th century, we started to see a return of this after it was the ban was lifted.
A whole bunch of hipsters got together and brought back plaid, tartan.
People definitely wanted to harken back to their heritage, and now this is actually where at this time now we had transportation and the way things were carried. So you started seeing more chemical dyes, and you could actually create tartans of different colors, brighter colors, deeper colors. It sort of became a boom of the tartan. The tartan was sort of popular again. So this is actually where clans and people started making their own tartan. They started.
I did not mean to yawn right there.
Rude. This is history. This is my history. No, I'm just kidding. But this is where clans and families and organizations started using this to, one, show their Scottish heritage or connect themselves to Scottish heritage.
Okay. All right. So how can you, like, are there identifying factors of a tartan? Like, can you look at a tartan and be like, well, that represents this and that, and I mean, like, how much is it like that?
Yeah, I mean, there are different ways to characterize it. There's definitely a lot of terminology that describes how an actual pattern is done. There's the weft, there's the warp, and that's how, the way things cross. It's always at right angles. You've got the set, you have the pivot, a lot of complicated stuff. You can look into that if you want to look into designing your own tartan. Okay. But one of the things that you'll hear with tartans is the way that they're described. First is ancient, modern, muted, and weathered. And that kind of describes, within one family. So, of course, ancient means the colors that were used originally, the dyes that they had. So that was So what you're saying is when they brought in, like, when the chemical dyes came in, they're going to have a different tone, like they would more be vibrant, much brighter, than like the muted plant dyes that they would use. And so you can they were less expensive. You could, with how things were booming, you could create a tartan a lot easier. So that's where modern came in. Modern is kind of a brighter, deeper version of that color. Muted takes it a step further and kind of bridges that gap. Says, okay, here's your modern, here's your ancient. This is the middle ground. So this is what it probably could have looked like.
Okay, all right, cool. Well,
so with the boom in the industry, a lot of Victorian entrepreneurs saw the interest in this. I mean, you had people traveling from different parts of the country to Scotland and having a renewed interest in Scotland.
Yep.
And so, even the British monarchy, the royal family had taken trips up there, bought castles up there, and so they started creating tartans for the modern family, or for the royal family. Yeah. Which, of course, if the royal family does it,
you can't. You're a commoner. You're a serf.
Well, this is much later, but now you're interested in it, right? So these Victorian entrepreneurs created what they called Tartan Ware, which was tartans that were put onto things like snuff boxes and tables and sewing kits. And basically you would travel to there, you would see these trinkets with tartan ware on it and take it back home.
And then say, other people, where did you get that snuff box with that cool tartan on it? Like, well, I got it in Scotland at that shop next to the rat catcher's place. I'm probably still thinking of the wrong century here, but still.
Yeah, it's my snuff box. So the thing that's crazy about it is that today there are just so many different types of tartans out there. Depending on definition, there's an estimate of 35,000 to 7,000 different tartans, with 150 new tartans being created every year.
Oh, okay. So you can create new tartans.
You can create new tartans and register them. There are notified bodies, and there's a history in those notified bodies of there was this one, and there's one for the U.S. and Canada, and now there's this, and the registry here, and you can get this one for free and register it, and this one has a fee. You can go and read about that.
Have I seen any of the famous tartans?
You probably have. There are a lot of common and recognizable ones, and these are the ones that they used for tartan wear.
Okay.
You had the Stuart, MacDonald, MacGregor, Macduff, and Macbeth, and Prince Charlie, Bonnie Prince Charlie. They're also tartans that were made specifically for royal families. Like, no one else could use them.
See, I was right. Because I'm a serf. I'm a commoner.
You're a commoner.
I can't use that royal family tartan.
There are also tartans that are specific to the U.S. and Canada, as well. There are even trademarks that are, or there are tartans that are trademarked for specific companies, like Burberry, the Burberry check.
Okay.
This ding. You've seen that.
I have seen that.
That's part of a brand.
Well,
Look at that.
you can trademark a tartan.
So there are rules and guidelines to what you can and can't wear, but there are no laws. So you actually could wear a royal family tartan, but it's very heavily frowned upon. Like you get bad looks, and probably people would be pretty upset about it.
How common is that, like, nowadays? Like, are people really going to be like, that's the royal family tartan that you're wearing there? Like,
I would imagine that if you were in England or Scotland, it would be more.
That's probably good to know. Like, you know, if you go take a trip over there, like, maybe just polka dot. Just stick with polka dots, okay? Or like plain colors. Don't even try.
So if you want
don't know what you're wearing.
if you want to see what like your tartan is, basically you go to your last name. You check on your last name. The surname from that you have, or your last name, is what you do. So if you have your father's last name, you're of your father's clan. If you have your mother's last name, you're of your mother's clan. So I am Melville. Melville comes from my father. I'm in the Melville clan.
I don't know if I have a clan.
Okay, that's easy. That's fine. If you don't have a clan, there's actually a couple of universal or free tartans that you can wear.
Because I'm a commoner.
Because you are a commoner. This includes the Black Watch, the Caledonian, the Hunting Stewart, and the Jacobite tartans. So you have those options.
Okay, so let's pretend like I have a tartan.
Okay.
And let's pretend I have a kilt.
Okay.
Do I wear underwear with the kilt?
This there's a lot of story behind that. The common joke is you're not a real Scot unless you're not wearing anything under your kilt. This was kind of true. People didn't wear anything under the kilt, but that wasn't the case if there was going to be vigorous dancing or a chance where in common or public arenas, like a parade or something like that, you know, when it was really windy or something. So like parade masters have been known to have like mirrors on the bottom of their staff so that they can check and be like, no, you're supposed to have something under here because there are kids around. Because you don't want to get like a citation or something.
Yeah.
Indecent exposure.
All right.
So there's a lot to it. Of course, we want to wish you a happy National Tartan Day.
It's the holiday we all wait for.
Oh,
it's like,
that's the one I wait for.
Yeah.
If you haven't been to a Scottish Games or a Highland Festival, or I mean, there are so many fun and crazy things to do out there that I love going to. There's a Highland Games here locally. And they do all sorts of these like challenges of strength.
Yeah, maybe tomorrow, like pick up a tree and try and throw it.
Yeah,
you could do that.
If you want to learn, there's the Wicked Tinkers. I like to refer to them as the YouTube of Scottish music. They are fantastic. They are so freaking cool.
Oh, the U2 of Scottish. I think I meant like the YouTube.
No, the U2 of Scottish.
Okay.
Like they are rock guys, and they have just some awesome music. You can check out that. Go and check out some Scottish history. Look up the tartan. Look at some of this history. It's really fascinating. We covered sort of a cursory thing. It's very just basic, but of course, as always, you know, celebrate it.
Yeah.
You know, and in fact, I'm going to celebrate it myself with my own little tartan here. Check that out. Family crest. I've got my sporn. Got my flashes on.
You have your underwear on too, right?
Well, you know. Maybe. A real Scot never tells. Thank you for joining us. As always, thank you for liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing to our channel.
And if you have any questions about tartans for JD, or you want to learn more, or you have a suggestion for anything you want from us, you know, you can follow us on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. You can comment down below. You know, any of those. Do you have a tartan?
Ooh, yeah. I want to see your tartans. That sounds a little odd.
Oh.
That sounds a little odd. I apologize.
Hey, yes.
And if you liked what you saw today, please subscribe. That'll let you know when we have new shows. It's every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
And to leave you with you know, on this day before the National Tartan Day, here's a video for you to watch.
Of course, one of the things associated with the clans, or Scottish families, is the clan tartan, which is usually seen in its most famous role as the material for the kilt, the garment that, in America, some folks haul out for Burns night and Scottish dancing, if at no other time.